Hey everyone, Brock McGinnis here with the Q&A that was promised. So, let's go. Amanda Wolchild asks, what's your favorite childhood memory? I think my favorite childhood memory would probably have to be the time I got the PS2 back in 2004. I was 9 years old. My brother and I, before I found out what type of person he was, thought about getting a new system. We had the N64 for so freaking long. And the moment we got it, we were pretty happy. But after playing the games, that's when our minds were blown. We had no idea the games of today were capable of like voice acting, besides Star Fox 64, and stellar cutscenes. And it's been one of my favorites ever since. Freaky Faith Reed asks, do you know DeWay? Oh, hi, Faith. Miguel Mercado asks, what are your political views, if you don't mind sharing them? What made you become an atheist? What inspired your indie fan character? If you could collab with one YouTuber, who would it be and why? And 5, why haven't we collabed yet? Well, my political views is I'm a centrist. I'm fairly liberal, but not to the point where I'm described as an SJW. What made me become an atheist was, well, I was a devout Catholic majority of my life. Hell, I was even a creationist once. Yeah, I know. And now that I think about it, it's pretty embarrassing. And even though I knew there was evidence of evolution happening, so I try to have these theories that, like, how fantasy and reality actually coexisted, but even that made no sense. And over time, I kind of saw the bigotry of my religion, like discrimination against gay people, denying women abortions or healthcare, treating women like shit, no less. And not to mention, there was lack of evidence for a god. And over time, that's when I started developing being an atheist. I also got introduced to Dusty Smith. The first video I saw of him, the moment he described God as an imaginary friend, admittedly, I kind of X'd out because I didn't want to believe it. But over time, and as in over time, I mean January 2013, that's when I realized there is no God, and that is okay. As for what inspired my character, Indie Fan, well, ever since 2010, I started watching AVGN and The Nostalgia Critic, and also another reviewer called Film and Stuff. Yeah. And after seeing them, I got inspired to become an internet reviewer, but I didn't have a YouTube account yet. And while practicing, I kind of stole the majority of the AVGN's jokes. I didn't have a YouTube account yet, still. And over time, I got introduced to other reviewers through friends, such as Lankara, Spoonie, Todd in the Shadows, Handsome Tom, 8-Bit Mickey, and then I got introduced to the next gen of internet reviewers, such as Huey Two-More, Hardcore Kid, Cartoon Hero, and there was another one called Newspaper Critic. No, Comic Strip Critic. That's his name. And since Lankara reviewed comics, Comic Strip Critic reviewed comic strips on newspapers, I felt nobody took a look at fan films or other fan media. Granted, some people looked at fan fiction, but not fan films or independent movies in general. And so I thought about maybe becoming the fan film critic. However, that name was taken by somebody who made a review back in like 2013 or 2012, something like that. I thought about giving my reviewer persona a Irish name known as Louch, which was warrior in Irish. But that's kind of been taken by a UFC fighter, and Lankara, that's a name you don't hear every day. And so I decided to also look at independent movies, which I thought would be a great excuse to give the name Indie Fan. Because also, a little fun fact about my review show, for my character, I was originally going to have, Linkara's Xenomorpher, I was going to have something like a henshin device, such as the Double Driver from Kamen Rider Double. So have, like, one side's like Cyclone Joker, it would be Indie and Fan. But that kind of got scrapped along the way. I was originally going to call my show Fanboys and Indians. But eventually, somebody suggested the name something like Fandemic. And over time, I had my YouTube channel, and then 2016 came along. I hit record, introduced myself as Indie Fan, and the rest is history from there. As for collaborations, I'm willing to collab with anyone. And I mean anyone. Whether it be Faceless Critic, the fellow critic Titans, Andrew Bull, Jensen, who's also an inspiration to my character, by the way. And I'll do anyone. Well, almost anyone. As for why haven't we collabed, I ask you, what's keeping you? Lady Gotham asks, what's your dream career? Do you believe in ghosts? And is there a place you really want to visit one day? Well, dream career, I always wanted to be a filmmaker or be in the movie field. As for, most specifically, special effects artist. As for ghosts, no. And there's a good reason why for that, because there is no such thing as ghosts. The evidence clearly shows there is not. Not even shows will convince you otherwise. And as for a place I really want to visit someday, that's a good one. I always wanted to visit Universal Studios, and I actually want to visit Japan and the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Well, that's all for today, and if anyone else has any more questions, please comment below. I'm Brock Mianis, and I'll see you next time.